This is episode 219 of the Gold Squadron podcast. I'm your host, Dion. I've been granted the rank of Master Morales. And today, I'm joined by Marcel, no content, Manzano.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to fill the time with today. My fellow master.
Will, silent film interviews, Haywood.
You're muted. Oh, I get it. I'm a dummy.
Oh, hook, line, and sinker, Will. You got him. Got him so hard. Oh, it was great.
You know, it's all the work Zoom meetings. It's just like, I'm in the habit of just every 2 seconds, you're muted. You're muted.
Oh, that was great. That was great. Well, as for announcements, I am super excited to announce the fact that Gold Squadron Paint Wars #1 is real, and the first episode comes out, if you're listening to my voice live, tomorrow. And if you're watching or you're listening to the podcast or watching on the day of release, that's today. Okay, July 27th, 2021. Episode 1, title, Into the Unknown. If you don't know what Paint Wars is, quick synopsis. You got 3 painters. They all have the same ship and the same prompt. Dion, what's the prompt? Into the Unknown is the prompt, okay? So you guys will know the prompts right off the bat because that's the name of the episode titles, but you won't know the ship until you watch the episode. I'm super excited, and here if you remember, during our live stream for Dagobah, we gave away the 3 ships in this episode, and I will tell you, they are beautiful. They are beautiful. All right, I'm a little sad that we already gave them away before people got to see them, but it was for charity, so it's all right. We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. But don't miss it. It's set up as a YouTube premiere. So what that means is that if like right now, you can go to the page right now. I'll actually show it to you. Give me 2 seconds. I'll pull it up. I hadn't anticipated doing this. I've posted this all over Facebook and it's on Instagram as well. But if you go to our YouTube channel, there is this right here, and if you guys type in there, like this is a live chat. Hello, okay, all right, and we'll be able to talk to each other during the episode. And you can click here where it says reminders. I have mine on. All right, you can go ahead if you want to give a like even before we've started, just to kind of get that YouTube algorithm going. It would be great. But looking forward to and very excited about this first episode of Paint Wars. If you want the link, I'm going to go ahead and put it in our Twitch chat right now so that you have it. Okay. That's that. So super excited about Into the Unknown. It's good. It's good. I will tell you guys, it is. Never mind. You guys will enjoy it. I enjoyed it. It is one of our longer episodes. You know, it's kind of like when planning the episodes, guys, I was like looking at The Mandalorian. I was like, all right, cool. Like there are definitely some episodes that are going to be shorter just because that's how they worked out, and that's the editing says it has to be shorter. And this one's a little bit longer. We'll give you a little bit more meat on the first one, but every other episode is going to leave you wanting just a little bit more, which is the point, right? So hopefully you guys enjoy it. I'm super excited about it. Hit those reminders. It's not even a pilot. You can't call it a pilot because it's already been greenlit. It's episode 1. Let's go. All right. So super excited about that. Also, over the last weekend, if we have already alluded to it a little bit, we had the Lone Star Open that was streamed by Gold Squadron, but was the bulk of the work was put on by William Haywood. We need to give him a round of applause for getting on airplanes and driving across states and getting the equipment and the people together and all the things that you got to do to put on a live stream. So, Will, this is my public thank you
Well,
for all your work.
I would return that favor. I got two big shout outs. First one to Tim Hilton, one of the best and most generous people in the X-Wing community. Used to run the top X-Wing players back in first edition, but he was knowledgeable and helped me out a lot, especially the first day getting everything set up. Then my second shout out, and I said this publicly, was Brent Wong.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the deciding factor of why we could commit to going down to Texas. Brent Wong, just an absolute, what do I want to say, excellent tournament organizer. Everything ran as smooth as it could and really helped out the stream. Anytime I needed anything, whether it was faction breakdowns or allowing the stream an extra round or two or minute or two because of the shuffling. And yeah, basically anything I requested, Brent was on it. Beyond that, he just did a great job running the whole event, and I don't think anybody else could have pulled it off other than Brent. So big shout out to him.
Yeah, Brent does great work, and you know, he's the first one to do a big in-person event. So you know, we gotta follow suit from then. And then our last kind of bit of announcements, and we're going to start breaking into some of this stuff, is AMG, Atomic Mass Games, released the release date for Fury of the First Order and the suspected double Y-Wing pack. All right? It is here, the BTA NR2 Y-Wing pack. There's 2 in there, and that's releasing September 24th. Probably. And I'm going to put that probably in there for a reason that we'll talk about in a little bit. There's a bit of controversy around this box. Missing lines. Honestly, I don't think it's going to delay it, but we got to pretend like it's going to. All right, here we Whoa! It's a clickbait, right? It's a clickbait. But yeah, our episode today is brought to you by our GSP patrons. Becoming a patron makes you a part of the largest group of supporters here that GSP has. Patrons have access to patron-only channels on our Discord, and depending on what level you are, you get sent out quarterly gifts. The current gifts are actually getting wrapped up on my table. You know that we had talked about the fact that I was finishing up my master's degree. I will tell you that I am mentally burnt, okay? I to a crisp right now, but I look at X-Wing, and you know, while it is a lot of work, being able to just hang out with you guys is rejuvenating, and I'm starting to feel good right now. This is nice. So we did start packing up the Patreon stuff that ships out in July. Normally it would have shipped out in that first week, but again, was wrapping up my masters. Thank you for your patience. But our next set is Shadow Squadron, so looking forward to sending that out to you guys. And if you want to go to patreon.com/Gold Squadron, you can become a patron today. All right, guys, we're going to jump into the spoilers because I know people love looking to the future. So let's go ahead and look to the future. What do we have coming? What's on the docket? And we're going to start with the Fury of the First Order. All right, Fury of the First Order, we've talked about it. It kind of got leaked a couple weeks ago. We talked about it. You're going to get 2 FO bombers and 1 TIE Whisper. There's some more pictures of them, and this is where I want to start, okay? Looking at this picture. If you hadn't noticed, the TIE Whisper base is actually missing the triangles, the X for the arcs. So it is a bullseye. It has a bullseye arc natively, but it's missing the X in order to be able to determine if something's in the left arc, right arc, front arc, or back arc, right? That section of the ship. So we're going to have to wait on an official ruling from AMG, though I will say this isn't detrimental in any way, shape, or form. You can just proxy a base with a similar initiative and you'll be fine. Like, I know that it'll be a little janky, but that's really the easiest solution in my opinion versus doing something like trying to draw them yourself. Just use another base. I'm going to leave it at that, but I wanted to make sure we had this picture in there so that you can see it. If you hadn't noticed, And now you know. Don't be surprised when you open up that TIE Whisper box. Maybe they'll do what they did. You remember, was it the Torrents where they like slipped in an extra dial? Was it something like that?
Yeah, the Torrents and the Sea-Rock had like an extra dial. Like the part that was wrong slipped back into them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we'll end up seeing what ends up happening, but yeah, we're missing that on the base, and it needs to be there. It's a integral part of the game. And I will tell you, as somebody who does graphic design and all that, it's very easy to do. Somebody turned off a layer and forgot to turn it back on. That's what happened there. Alrighty. So let's keep on going. We're gonna focus on the bombers, the FO bombers first. I want to say that model is sick. It is beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Let's start by talking about that dial. What do we got there, Will?
Right. Let's take a look at the dial. So the main thing of note is the blue maneuvers. I think is what draws my attention first, because they are only 1 forward, 2 forward, and 3 forward. So this thing's going to have, unless there's some upgrade or something that comes out with it, it's going to have a hard time clearing the stress. Beyond that, it does have red hard ones, some 1 banks that are white. All the 2s, 2 hard, 2 bank, they're white. All the 3s, 3 hard, 3 bank, they're also white. Then it has 3 sloops as its only 180-degree maneuver, and then a 4 forward as well. They did announce the upgrade slots for the First Order Cadet, which is, I believe, the I-3 according to the bases on the previous picture. That would have a talent, tech, torpedo, missile, gunner, bomber. Oh, they have a picture of it. Yep, the I-3. Perfect. Then, yeah, a gunner, bomb, and the modification slot. So pretty standard upgrades there, except for the missing second missile. So no diamond borons and no barrage rockets could be equipped to it. Or I guess what's the other one? The HMP ones, multi-barrage or multi-missile,
multi-pod missiles.
Yeah,
multi-pod.
exactly.
Yeah,
nobody flies those anyways, but
yeah,
can't equip them regardless. So that's of note of how it's different than like previous TIE bombers is the missing missile slot.
Now, Marcel, my volleyball up to you here is, why does it say only upgrade slots for First Order Cadet?
Well, because there might be other things with other slots, but I mean, the EPT is the elite pilot talent is probably the most common one to drop on either certain pilots or the Initiative 1 or 2 generic, whatever the lowest generic is. Mm-hmm. But it also opens up the possibility, just like you know, like the bombers, the techno bombers, whatever they are. The
HMPs,
the hyenas,
and the hyenas, yeah.
Yeah, the hyenas have, depending on the ship and depending on their ability for balancing reasons, or just to get some fun shenanigans in there that they might all, not all, but that certain of them might have maybe like a crew carrier, which would be awesome. We need Protector Gleb on some FO ships that can benefit from it. So I mean, it opens up some additional things, maybe some additional bombs, multiple bombs. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I forgot to mention that the single bomb slot as well is very interesting. So no bomblet, but also very limited ordnance going to be able to be equipped to it.
Yeah, well, I'm really curious about that. I'm curious to see how it ends up shifting around, because I'm hoping it's similar to the Hyena, where they have some pretty drastic changes. And even the HMP, right? Because those were kind of in that same. The HMP was part of the last release, and that was a what's the word I'm looking for? Give me a second. A design space that was explored, taking a single chassis and giving it different slots. So I'm hoping that it's more than just the EPT falling off or on, depending on the pilot. But we will end up seeing. Now, let's go ahead and see the pilots that we have. We have this First Order Cadet. What are our actions looking like, Marcel?
1 second.
So our actions on the ship,
I got it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So we've got the focus, the target lock, and that's also on the same one, right? Yeah, on the Initiative 3 one, the cadet. So we got focus, target lock, barrel roll to red target lock, red boost, and then reinforce to evade. I actually like that one a lot. Reinforce to evade because not
Reload.
Reload. Yeah, reload. No, if it was reinforced, that'd be really, really good.
Reinforce evade.
Too good.
Yeah, reload to evade. I like that a lot. But I wonder. So it also has an elite pilot talent. So I mean, it's expensive, but with the Debris Gambit, you can essentially white reload to white evade, right? So that's interesting. I don't know how good it is, but at least it gives you that white evade, and you had 6 hull with the evade action. Nice.
And then we also have the Pursuit Thrusters ship ability, which will, kind of going back to your dial that I was thinking here, is those blue maneuvers. I think this is the reason why they kept it to the only 1, 2, and 3 straight. Pursuit Thrusters says, during the system phase, you may perform a boost action. So that is, before everybody moves, you get a little boosty boost. You can move in any direction, left, right, or straight. And then, of course, you have your maneuver after that. Now, guys, what do you think about this? This is another system phase movement ability. So when we saw it first for the Jedi, right? We maybe thought it was going to be something a little special. Looks like maybe everybody's going to get a little bit of a taste of some system phase repositioning. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is even better because, for starters, you can throw engine upgrade to turn that red into white, so that because their blue maneuvers are so limited, you can just add I believe it should only be like a 2.
Let me stop and clarify that. Because the Pursuit Thrusters doesn't say red boost, that is a white boost in system.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
So you can white boost. I thought it was just a boost action, and it would be the action on
it would have to say something like perform the boost action on your action bar. Is that because
of that clarification they did in the FAQs?
Right. I'm sure they had some information ahead of us, the public.
Yeah. So with this, again, looking at things like proxy mines and things like that, where if you bump somebody, you don't, with the bombardment drones, for example, you want to avoid that front arc because that front range 1, because they're dropping the bomb in front of you. This essentially gives you the same flexibility that, okay, as long as if I throw in there and I bump you, a 1 boost in either direction usually is enough to clear a small base ship. It's usually like 1 point something the distance. And then dropping that proximity mine in the back, that's going to be super, super good. You can, I think that's possible. You also like thermal detonator, like drop a bomb here, and then move, and then drop another bomb, and now it gives you.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that. Because when you do the thermals, they have to be both in a row.
Okay, so you would have to move and then drop them both.
Yeah,
that still gives you a lot of range,
or
a lot
drop
of
them both. Right, exactly. Or drop them both and boost. Like you have, tons of that flexibility
of where to put them. But I like the proxy mines a lot. Or if clusters were cheaper clusters, but proxy mines are really good for this. Even thermals, not thermals. What are they? The ones that ionize you. Conner nets. Thank you. Yeah, even the Conner nets would be amazing.
Yeah, and I think that they released that this is generic is going to have a talent that you could put engine upgrade and Daredevil in your talent slot to be able to hard turn boost in the system phase, which is going to give you an extreme amount of bomb dropping positions you could do them.
The First Order bomb faction? What?
Yeah, right. Wow. Oh, and skilled bombardier. Yeah, you go engine upgrade, because I think you need engine upgrade to equip Daredevil in the first place.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, engine upgrade, Daredevil, skilled bombardier. Like, you can put that proxy mine wherever you want. You're gonna make Iman look sad about all the positions you can put it.
So you can do the hard one turn with as a white? Is that the way it works?
Because it's white in the pursuit thrusters, you can Daredevil that then, correct.
But the boost itself would end up being red.
Red.
It would create red.
Right.
So you'd have to like clear your stress or something like that. Or
Yeah,
just
but I mean,
accept it.
Yeah, but imagine it's essentially advanced sensors. I mean, not advanced sensors, but it's yeah, you can end up being anywhere you want to be.
No, that's going to be super good. I mean, it's advanced sensors if you're the first ship to move that round anyways, right?
Yep. Yeah, and I know one thing that some people are getting hung up on is like, wait, a cadet can do this? Let me get your head cannon straight, okay? All right, this is how I look at it. This is a first order cadet. But you got to remember, the First Order, like, stole children and trained them from a young age. Sound familiar? But anyway, so, like, these cadets are not like some scrubs coming off the street and like, all right, I'm here to join the Imperial Navy. No, these are like, they have been trained from birth to be soldiers. So you got to expect these cadets to be a little bit better than Imperial cadets. So that's how I kind of headcanon this elite cadet. Hopefully that helps some of y'all out. As for the ship stats, which we didn't quite get to yet, we have 2 attack dice, 2 agility, 4 hull, and 2 shields. Right there. All right, I got to go back and take a look at our predictions to see how close we were at when we did this. But yeah, that is the First Order cadet and just the base stats for that ship. We do have one of the named pilots spoiled. Initiative 2, the Hateful Harrier, the Hateful Harrier. While a friendly bomb or mine at range 0 to 2 detonates, each time attack dice are rolled to resolve its effect, you may re-roll up to 1 of those dice. All right. So
those proxy mines are looking even worse.
Oh, yeah.
Count Dooku.
Yeah.
Auto crit. No, not anymore. Let's
no,
re-roll
you just re-roll it, baby. You're fine. Oh yeah. Well, I guess that's gonna end up being that game, right? Where it's because could you Dooku the second roll? Could you do that?
Well, you would Dooku, and then Grudge would tell you to re-roll it. You'd say Dooku blank, and Grudge would be like, "No, I don't think so. Why don't you re-roll that?" My suspicion is that Grudge drops the talent for probably another bomb slot.
I agree. Yes.
A couple other options there. That's speculation, but I mean, if his ability is about dropping bombs, I feel like he should have the double bomb slot. So at least he can get Bomblet Generator, which is a bomb that re-rolls.
Yep, and that
rolls dice.
And that is, of course, friendly bomb. So Grudge himself, what he's looking at is he can be a little bit more risky with those bomb droppings and probably take less damage than you normally would, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, and so that's the ability there. Yoda Taco says skilled bombardier might be actually worth it on this bomber just in general. Yeah, I mean I'm in agreement with you. Just being able to have more flexibility seems super solid. We also, with today's preview, got this talent card. Remember, anybody who's just second edition and never played first, we call these elite pilot talents. They strip that and just call it talent. So if we say EPT, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about those talent slot cards. What do we got here, Will?
All right, this is a feedback ping, which I thought was a Sith holocron thing that Rey connected in or whatever Kylo did, but different feedback ping. This is a talent slot that looks for ties with reload, which I think includes bombers and punishers. In addition to this, I can't think of another tie that has reload. Can you guess?
This one.
Yeah. Well, the first order one, but I can't think of another one. So
the what with the TIE Bomber? Does the TIE Bomber have it?
yeah, bomber's got a red reload. Punisher has a white reload.
But a Punisher doesn't have pilot talents.
Right.
Oh, okay. So this would work for gammas and the named pilots. Interesting. Okay, so it says, after an enemy ship executes a maneuver, if it is at range 0 to 1 of a friendly device, you may acquire a lock on that ship, ignoring range restrictions. So you drop a proxy mine with, you white boost, drop a proxy mine, and then you do the 3 sloop. Somebody comes in, hits your proxy mine, and you're like, you just executed a maneuver, and I'm going to acquire a lock on you, ignoring range restrictions, and then the proxy mine ends up going off them.
Even if it doesn't go off, they just have to be at range 0 to 1 of it. That on a proxy mine or even on cluster bombs, cluster mines.
That's a lot of area.
That is a huge
cluster mine.
Yeah, if you put a cluster mine, even though it's only one, that is a huge bubble of anybody who gets into this section will get. My ship will get a free target lock on you. This is not a unique card, which means you can spam all the cadets with this and just, tactically put bombs in the center of the board, clusters or proxies. And you're using that for both area denial, but also for free target lock. So you just start off at the edge of the range 1, do the 3 sloops, drop the bombs at first turn to block off the corners to get, to kind of funnel people in. And then, and then just kind of hang back, get your free locks, and throw your ordnance.
So I do want to just clarify one thing, because my mind went to sensor buoys with this as well, but the rules in the document defines devices as objects that exist in play and are represented by cardboard markers. I guess it'd be more specific, but I guess my question to you, everybody, is are remotes devices?
No.
It says obstacles are not.
No.
That is a separate thing.
Yeah, they're completely different.
Yeah, but how about not sensor buoys, but
because remotes have stats is essentially the difference, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So sensor buoys does not work. Has to be bombs of some sort.
But essentially, like, if you have reload, and if you can get it set up fast enough, i.e. these FO bombers with this system phase boosting, you could set up your own sensor buoy system out there that can't be shot. That's the difference here, right? Is like the sensor buoys can't be taken out. You got people, putting it in the gas cloud and all that, but it's still shootable. This is one of those things where unless they have something like the Resistance R2-D2 crew, or it's not, the Astromech, that's the only way I know how to disable a bomb in the game, or you having them land on it. So if you can get a ship out there, just like dropping some bombs and reloading out there, all of a sudden you have all these target lock options out there. Now, I'm taking that to an extreme, but that's the flexibility.
Even with R2-D2, you still get the lock because of the timing window.
Yeah.
R2-D2 says after activation. This is after you complete a maneuver. So that's even before you boost away, unless you're using fine tune, and then you can, depending on who took initiative, you might be able to fine tune away from it. But yeah, because R2-D2 would happen after activation, after you fully activate, including any repositioning and things like that. So super good. Like, and you can reload proxy mines, right?
No, the charges cannot be recovered.
So basically, in this particular case, like, you would either be dropping I think clusters would be great. Like I said, just start
Yeah.
off loop, cover the edges, and then just make the opponent go through the rocks in the center or get free locks and try to go there.
I mean, you could even save them to try to drop them on people, and like best case scenario, they hit all your cluster mines. Worst case scenario, they don't, and you just get free locks the rest of the game.
Real quick, we have been corrected by the chat. Thank you, chat. Apparently, in the rules reference, there is a line that says, "Remotes are devices that have initiative, agility, hull upgrade, or hull values." Except there's a whole sentence there after that. So possibly now I will say this: we know notoriously FFG, and now we can't put it on AMG yet. Maybe soon. Their wording hasn't always been great on things. So you're right. As of right now, rules is written with that sentence. Now I'm back on team.
Yeah.
Yes, sensor buoys do work.
I did double check, and they under sensor buoy it describes it as types device, comma remote.
Okay.
So it should work.
So that means it's
It should
a
work.
4-point.
Really good.
Okay.
For
So 4-point
sensor buoy.
because usually sensor buoy gives the ship that has it. But
Everybody
now.
now.
The entire squad.
Yeah, so you get like one sensor buoy on like a side shuttle, and then feedback pings and everybody else.
Boys!
Buoy. Yeah, boy.
All right, well, there you go. It does work. The combo wombo. Watch out. Feedback ping spam coming your way.
I have to imagine this is going to be expensive though. 3 to 4 points.
I don't know. The way things have been introduced with Zam at 4 points, when we know that should probably be a 10, 12 point cost. Hopeful, Disciplined, and Cutthroat all coming in at 1. So I think history has shown that new releases are typically undercosted and bumped up.
I mean,
versus the other way around.
Because I'm imagining, like in Imperial, going away from First Order for a second, Imperials have the ability to launch a bomb with a Punisher, and then TIE bombers could all have feedback ping to pick up locks. Yeah. So you wouldn't have, well, they would take all the setup out of that.
I like that.
And then who?
Right. Don't need Jed. Joust me. Joust my Punisher and bombers, please.
Everything will be fine. I promise. That is hilarious. Okay. Love it. All right, so that's feedback ping. Loving that. And remember, it does need to be a tie, and it does need to have the reload action. So now we're going to hit the TIE Whisper. We already mentioned the fact that it is missing the X on the base that divides the 4 quadrants on the base. We'll find out from AMG how is it that they want to proceed from there. If we hear anything before it's public, we'll let you know. We'll start with just kind of the base stats that we were able to get here. Marcel, what are the actions that we have? Let's start there.
Ooh, it says my battery is running low. So it's the focus to rotate. And I'm trying to understand why my battery is running low. It is the evade. Actually, everything is white. So no red
actions whatsoever.
So focus to rotate, evade, target lock, barrel roll to rotate, and then boost to rotate. So it has all the repositionings you can think of. And then on top of that, the linked actions, and it is I really like that. I know you're gonna go over it in a little bit, but the ability to rotate and still have a 3-die bullseye is just pretty crazy. I mean, it's essentially an ETA with the ability to take that and still put it in the back. So, pretty crazy.
All right, and what about our stats, Will?
All right, our stats. We have a 3-dice bullseye, similar to the Ada or Nantex. Also similar to the Nantex, we have in addition a 2-dice turret, 2 agility, 3 hull, and 2 shields. They also have the ship ability that I believe is word for word the SF, the heavy weapon turret. You can rotate your turret indicator only to your front or back arcs, and you must treat the front arc requirement of your equipped missiles as turret. So you can shoot your missiles out the back, and you can't have your arc to the back and try to shoot a front arc missile then out the front. Proton rocket, I guess, would still work because it's bullseye only, and you don't have a bullseye in your rear. But you already got 3 dice primary, so probably won't see too many prockets on these guys.
All right, so there's your base TIE Whisper. You see here they did show off that Initiative 4 709th Legion Ace. It is a cool looking ship. I like the background art in this one. You see he just wrecked the B-wing. Just wrecked a B-wing there. We did get, I'm not sure where this picture comes from, just like mysteriously appeared online somewhere. We have this Kylo Ren picture. So we got an ability. Before an enemy ship in your bullseye is dealt a face-down damage card, you may spend 1 force. If you do, that damage card is dealt face up. Now, do notice something else here. Kylo Ren doesn't have 2 force. He's got 3. That seems pretty good, guys. Thoughts?
I mean, more force is always better. Like,
now, I guess the downside is that he does have only 2 agility, right? I guess that's the maybe the difference
agility.
there.
Base. It's not
2
gonna.
agility.
It's not gonna. We're gonna talk about it. It's not gonna stay at 2 agility. This ship will be a problem, and especially Kylo will be a problem. And by the way, that is a damage, so that means that a bomb turns to a crit. Damage from anything turns to a crit. So as long as the damage comes in, anywhere
so it's like concussion bomb that does put a face down damage card. If they take the strain, you just flip it up anyways. Be like, well, you better take the strain because I'm gonna flip it up regardless.
That is hilarious. And yes, the subtitle on this Kylo Ren, by the way, is Supreme Leader of the First Order. Okay, we had a feeling, we're pretty sure that's what that was going to be. Now, I want to take a pause, quick pause right here, time out. We got Kylo Ren in a TIE Whisper, different ship, which is cool, and has 3 force, right? So we move into the the finale of the prequel. I'm not done the prequel, the sequel trilogy. The Rise of Skywalker. Are we going to end up seeing Rey with 3 force in something at some point?
Ooh. I mean, if you've seen the movie, she could have 4. She could have 4, 5, 6. Have you seen that movie?
Infinite. just basically have Yoda attached and say, okay, toss us up.
Well, see, there's something we've never seen before. Is that someone with like 2 force, but 2 recurring per round? Could be interesting. Little design space for Rey there.
Yeah.
All right.
Did she fly anything?
She flew
an X-wing.
This and Luke's X-wing, right?
Yeah. So maybe another guys. AMG, we need another Falcon. Let's go. One more Falcon.
Yeah, Poe flew the Falcon, didn't he, in the last movie? That's right.
We can get more pilots. I've got like 6 Falcon models. I don't need another one.
Now they're looking at our wallets and they're saying it's time to intercept.
I need every time they get a new dish, I need a new Falcon model. Come on. Let's go. Oh, Lando flew the Falcon as well in the final
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
we need like I was when the what is it, Rise of the Resistance? Heralds of Hope. When the Heralds of Hope box came out, I thought it was going to have a Falcon in it. And when it didn't, I was like, all right, Resistance Falcon incoming. You know what's going to happen. That you can't stop them. They're looking in our eyes and saying, we know you'll buy it. We know you will, especially if there's cards in there that there's no other way to get it. So,
Card pack.
I mean, that's what we want.
Right.
But let's be honest. Let's be honest. It ain't going to happen. All right. You know what? We might have enough Falcons to decorate a Christmas tree when it comes to holidays, all right? It'd be beautiful.
Now, question. Because we know how the movie ended.
Yup.
Does that at all open up the space for Kylo to use light side force?
No, because this is the Supreme Leader, though. They would have to, spoiler alert for a movie that came out 2 years ago, they would have to do like a Ben Solo card.
Yeah.
To have them have light side force, I think.
Ben Solo in a TIE fighter. We saw that. That happened.
That's true.
All righty. Let's keep the party going here. I said, let's keep the party going here, computer. There it is. And this is what you maybe were talking about, Marcel. Oh, he's crying already. He knows. You can feel it. We got Enhanced Jamming Suite. While you jam, you can choose yourself or another friendly ship. Okay, let's put a period there. And let's also say the following. This card gives the ship the following actions. Focus to jam, roll into jam, boost into jam, or just jam. Okay? So while you jam, you can jam yourself or another friendly ship. While you defend, if the attacker has no green tokens and there is a jammed ship in the attack arc, you may roll one additional defense die. Now, how is this good? This sounds so complicated. I don't understand.
I honestly hope that they do something to either take away the mod slot, or I mean the configuration or the tech slot from Kylo, because this on a ship with force, basically you're repositioning. I'm gonna boost. I'm gonna jam you. Now I got 3 agility. You've got nothing, and I'm gonna attack you, attack and defend with 3 force behind me.
Well, it's called variable pricing. You just make it more expensive for Kylo than
it's still
other people.
I mean, this is just. I think this has the potential to be as oppressive, depending on cost, as Ensnare. And
there's a bunch of people looking at you saying no. People saying no.
No, as in what? Like
no, I don't know. I think
yeah,
maybe.
I think this is Ensnare level problem. Like, imagine having a bunch of Ensnare ships. But this is even worse because Ensnare is countered by medium and large base ships. This is probably only countered by other ships with force, like by Jedi and stuff like that, because they'll have other things.
Yeah, and they changed the jam rules to be range 2 and bullseye as well. Yeah. So if you are trying to line up that 3 dice bullseye on these Whispers, you get a little extra room for your jam. Well, I mean, you could always just ionize the ship, Marcel. It can only take focus actions.
Ionize?
Yeah, prevent that jam.
Oh, okay. All right, Dace, you're back in business.
Dace!
Let's go. All right, so, it is definitely an interesting place. Notice that it is a configuration and does take up the tech slot. So what this does take away is, any shenanigans
or prime thrusters.
Yeah,
I think it would be the ones you'd be looking for on an ace platform like this.
So if you had
the worst part of it is that it's all white linked actions. I don't like white linked actions.
Go ahead.
Did you find a dial for this ship? I know we talked about.
I did not. Like there was one very blurry picture, and I did not want to hurt myself looking at this very blurry
my
picture.
My assumption would be then, with all of the white rotate and the white jams with the configuration, it might not have the extra blue maneuvers you normally see on this kind of interceptor ace style ship.
Maybe, yeah, because then that would at least give it a weakness of stress.
Right. You gotta. I mean, it's a turret, so like, you know, you don't really have to K-turn as much.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm honestly concerned about the impact that this card will have. But we've seen even in this last weekend, you guys had William. You had that one person flying Dengar with a bunch of false transponders.
Oh yeah, Slam Jam. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So you can see just how oppressive a bunch of jams can be, and then if you get the ability to basically take your own action and jam someone every single turn. I mean, Chopper, 10 points. Chopper is 10 points for a reason, right? 8 10 points. You know, Chopper on the Republic.
Ooh. Whoa.
So jamming it, jam is strong. It's ridiculously strong. And then yeah, just
Icarid, I can't say that name. I see Hoarded, just Galaxy bring to me Supernatural off of Kylo. Could be crazy. Did my mic get out? Can you guys hear me?
You're good. You're good. Just for a second.
Okay. I heard it ping. But that would be, so you can't double jam. You can't take the same jam action twice in a round, but you could be jamming people in, or basically before you move, which would be crazy. Wow.
Alrighty. Well, there is the enhanced jamming suite. We also got the back, a picture of the back of the box. Here we got some interesting things here. You can see a Kylo Ren, what looks like a Kylo Ren art from when he was on Mustafar Force upgrades. We got some new Force upgrades coming in. If you super enhance just a little bit more, you can see there's another named bomber in there. A couple of other cards. I mean, you can't really make out what any of this is, but we know that obviously we're getting some more new upgrades in the pack. Additionally, the other thing I wanted to talk about here is what in the world do you guys think this is? This is some... Is this a new bomb we're going to end up getting?
Oh, this like ion...
Yeah.
Cloud discharge, if you will. Yeah, it's... I mean, I don't think it... Well, there's two options. It's either a bomb, like a proxy mine, or it's more like a debris cloud that could, or like a rigged cargo chute, that it just like stays out on the battlefield. It's more of like an ion obstacle, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Mm-hmm. We also see, now that you're pulling up this picture, a cloak token in this pack as well, and I don't think that the bombers are going to be the ones cloaking.
Yeah. TIE Whispers, they real quiet.
So quiet.
So watch out. There's some upgrade we haven't heard of. And here is another picture of that TIE Whisper without the X on the base plate. I really do believe that they're not going to be on any of the TIE Whispers. There was, and we don't. Here's the thing though. Can I don't want to throw AMG under the bus. I don't want to, but I think this could have been a possible AMG mistake. And this is my speculation. If you remember, there was a stream, this is a couple months ago, where, maybe even longer than that, where AMG was talking about a bunch of other stuff, and one of the developers let loose through the lips that they were determining what the engine color for the TIE Whisper was, correct? You guys remember this?
Sure, I think
this happened
during like a painting stream.
This happened,
something like that.
And I would love, if it was an AMG mistake, I would love for them to admit it, because they are still learning the game, right? And they may have thought it has a bullseye. It doesn't need the other ones. It doesn't matter, right? That's I could see that possible thought thread. So or somebody just forgot to turn on a layer. That's the possibility too. But if it was purposely left off because of a misunderstanding of the game, that's a possibility too. Well, and whatever it is, I hope that they just kind of own it and we just figure out what we got to do.
Can I counter that?
Counter me.
Pecking Beard pointing out, look right down at the bottom of this box. I don't see an AMG logo.
You're right. You're right. You know what? Max Brooks bamboozled on his way out. Said, figure it out, guys. I'm just kidding. I doubt it's his fault. He just writes the cards, okay? He's not the graphic design person. But anywho. Alrighty, let's keep it rolling here. This is the new one that dropped today, or was it yesterday? My sense of time has not been very good in the last like 2-3 weeks. So don't get it twisted though. This letter was somebody misreading the fancy font R on the box for an A. So it is an NR2 Y-wing, not an NA2 Y-wing. But you see, you get two Resistance Y-wings, one painted with red, one painted with blue. Here's another look at that. These, in fact, do have the X in the center. Fantastic legal ships. Alrighty. Now let's go ahead and talk about that stat line. What we got, Will?
All right. I'm looking at a New Republic patrol. This is the Initiative 3. It's got a white focus, red lock, red barrel roll, and red boost for its number values here. It has said one thing and started working on another. Its stats are 2 primary out the front, 1 agility, 4 hull, and 3 shields. So it actually makes it a 7 health then, which is 1 less than the normal Y-wings we've seen throughout the other factions. In addition to that, it does have the ship ability Intuitive Interface. As you perform an action added to your action bar by talent, illicit, or modification upgrade, you may perform a calculate action. So right off the bat, we're looking at replacement actions, which would be like targeting computer to make your target lock white, expert handling to get a white barrel roll, or engine upgrade for a white boost. Off the top of my head, debris gambit as well, as long as you're range 1 of an asteroid to get a white evade. You could get a calculate action as well. Is there, beyond illicits, because there's a lot of illicit actions, is there anything I'm missing out of talent or modifications?
I think you caught most of them, but my guess is there are probably going to be some additional ones in the pack itself.
Sure, of course.
So whatever comes in the pack, but definitely with the Y-wing, the one that comes to mind more than anything else is definitely the targeting computer to get a double modded torpedo shot every time if you're throwing torpedoes on there, or even if you have a turret, a double modded, a double modded ion cannon shot or something like that. It's just it'll be good. Definitely better than they're going to be more expensive because everything that to make this work requires that you add additional things.
Yeah,
it's not like the they're definitely not going to be as good as the Republic Y-wings for like bomb dropping. If you want to spam bomb drop, you're not going to be able to use it like that because the action bar is just completely worse. But if you're using it as a carrier, as a torpedo carrier or something like that, or even just as a turret, just using its actual weapons instead of bombs, it's gonna be quite good, quite good.
I'm just taking a second and looking through I'm sorting right now by talents, elicits, and modifications, seeing if there's anything else we missed. Cloaking device.
Yeah, there is a lot of elicits that do have actions. Rage cargo chute does require medium base, so can't do that. But yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple ones. I think there's some possible future shenanigans built in there, and I think Marcel, you're right. We might get something else. Did we go over the action bar already? I think that's one thing we haven't done quite yet. So
yeah, we got the action bar all red.
All right,
except
so
for that focus.
What do you think? Is this a function to get the price down? Is that why you think that's all red?
I think these are going to be because what 29 for the Republic bomber. So I assume if they have a similar initiative, we are looking at the initiative 3 here, which is one more than the lowest Republic one. But I mean, I think though that I might have recant my previous statement. I think that I would trade the white target lock for a red boost as like a wash. Does that make sense? Like I think that's an even trade on the Y-wing. I don't know how the one less health factors into that though. But you got to imagine sub 30, right? I can't imagine this having a base cost more than 30 points.
Yeah, and I would hope also that they would have. So if they have that red boost, that just means that they have hopefully a little bit more speed, and at least give them another straight maneuver that's blue. Just then traditionally, I think traditionally they have is it 3 forward blue on the Rebel one. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick peek.
Just two.
No,
two
just
forward
two,
and
yeah.
one banks.
You know what? That's what I want the 3 to be blue. Come on, FFG, AMG. All right, all of you, all the letter combinations. Let's go. Watchful Astromech. This seems like a good card. This seems like a really good card. It is an Astromech, and it is going to be able to be equipped on anything that can take an Astromech. This means it's not faction locked whatsoever. It says, after you perform a reload, rotate, words right now. After you perform a reload or rotate action, if you are in an enemy ship's firing arc, you may perform a red calculate action. That seems pretty solid.
Yeah.
I mean, it essentially gives you a linked action if you're getting shot, right? It's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it would be easy to get an enemy ship's firing arc. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah,
especially in the scrum if you're trying to rotate a lot as well.
I know a couple people in the chat are referring to a doc that's been floating around. The doc has been wrong a couple times already. One, namely, being the TIE bomber's dial. So that's the reason why I'm not referring to that as fact. I'm just not going to trust it because the dial is like one of the most important things we need, and it's already been wrong. All right, so it's been corrected now because I have the right one, but initially it was wrong. So we're just going to leave it alone. And that's why I'm not referring to that dial.
Other than Y-wings, what has rotating and Astromechs? I know that the
Jumpmaster.
Not really, because the Jumpmaster's rotate is red, so you would not be able to perform another red action because of it. But the what is it? The scum ship that drops bombs.
I was going to say the Kimojila has reload, a white reload, and an Astromech slot.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's nice, but to calculate on a 1 agility ship.
The Skurg?
Well, the Skurg. That's what I was talking about. The Skurg with the title gives you the Astromech, so then you can.
That's true.
So you can add it on a Skurg, and they, the 2 named Skurgs like to reload and like to probably rotate and have actions.
Yeah, what about X-Wings with Underslung? They have a rotate action.
Nice, actually.
After you perform an action, if you're...
It's a little goofy, sure.
That's a little weird. That's a little weird. I'm just thinking like
it adds rotate though. I don't know what to tell you.
You're right.
I mean,
You're right. You're right. I mean, it's one of those where I go like, but what if you just had Tem and Wexley in your squad? You
you
get to get it anyway.
You can do a lot better things than that with it, sure.
But I guess it does give you possibly a. Oh no, that's bad. Don't do it. I don't think it's good.
Wow.
All right, and then this was the card, the official spoiled card. What do we got here, Will?
All right. This is the Wartime Loadout. It is a configuration and a modification. This one is a standardized upgrade as well. We saw that the Whisper configuration was not standardized, as a note. Now, the Wartime Loadout reads, you gain a torpedo slot and 1 missile slot, which could mean that the base model doesn't have a torpedo to begin with. For all of our predictions about Proton Torpedo, get a free calculate with it. And in addition to it, it does replace your ship ability, that the ability we were talking about getting calculate actions, with Devastating Barrage. While you perform a torpedo or missile attack, if the defender is in your bullseye, your crit results cannot be canceled by evade results. So that's almost the identical wording of Auto Blaster about pushing through crits past evade results. Before we dive too deep into that, it does have 2 other things. 2+ shields, which would get you up to 9, and then a white lock and a white reload as well. So I think this is because they don't have a reload normally. So if you are taking some sort of bombs or something that you'd want to reload, you'd have to take the Wartime Loadout to do so. So what's your guys' thoughts on that Auto Blaster style bullseye mechanic?
I wonder if they have natively a missile or a torpedo slot natively without this. I'm guessing that it does.
And
then
assume it would.
If it adds a second, like I can see this being super good with barrage rockets and marksmanship. So barrage rockets and marksmanship, so you're basically just moving and focusing anyway. And whatever lands there, barrage rockets are good. And
interesting.
Yeah, that way you're pushing auto crits with your barrage rockets every time. And that's basically a range 3 auto blaster shot, essentially what it becomes.
Yeah. One of the things I worry about, though, is this is going to have a cost. It gives you 2 shields.
Oh,
right?
yeah, this definitely has a big cost to it.
It's going to cost
you 2 shields at 1 agility. That's 6 points if it's just the shields alone.
Oh, yeah.
That's 6.
So I mean, I wonder how much of a value is it if it's undercosted. If it's coming in at 3 points, let's be crazy, 3 points. You go slap it on. Why would you not? I think it's gonna definitely, obviously, always it's cost dependent. Well, yeah, but looking at those 2 shields just makes me think that the additional cost there might end up robbing you of other things that your squad might end up needing.
Yeah,
sure.
Even just the marksmanship, like this with a marksmanship. You got a ship with 9. You don't need to roll more than 2 dice. You're just auto critting. Like, okay, now I'm a Jedi. The R7 droid one, the auto crit droid.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Basically, yeah, they're rolling 2 dice, getting crit in, and you better than crack shots, better than any of that. Just marksmanship, and anybody lands in your bullseye is sad.
Yeah, there's a lot of options with torpedo and missile. I'm thinking about like cluster, right? If you can somehow get both of the targets cluster missiled in your bullseye. Plasma, if you can shoot a plasma torpedo and with marksmanship or just roll a crit, just like boom, you lose 2 shields. Like attack over. You're just down 2 shields now.
I think one of the tricky things, though, is going to be so many ships in the game have repositioning, and if you're doing this at a low initiative, it's going to be difficult. I think if you're spamming Y-wings, most people think low initiative. You're bringing 4 of them. You're going to have them try to have them at different angles or something like that. I'm just curious to see how effective people could be with this.
Yeah.
Players have gotten better with Bullseye for sure.
Yeah.
But it's still going to have to land.
But I'll go, a counter to that is if you're forcing people to use their action to reposition out of a bullseye, you're taking an action away.
That's good as a jam.
That's
yeah,
true.
I mean, you're making them either use the force if it's a Jedi to reposition, or you're making them you're forcing them to not be where they are in order to avoid auto damage, and that's kind of big. I mean, that's one of the benefits of crack shot. It's not just can you land the crack shot, is area denial. Is like you're not going to be, you don't want to be here, and it forces the opponent to kind of fly in a way that is extra defensive, more defensive than they normally would be. And again, with barrage rockets, you don't have to worry about getting the locks. You just opening it up and saying, okay, if you end up here, you're still going to get 3 dice in your face no matter where you go. But now if you're having to reposition to avoid a bullseye, now I'm still going to shoot you with 3 dice, but it'll be against your unmodded dice because you're having to get out of the way. So it's pretty strong.
Good point. Good point. I like it. All right, so we'll see what wartime loadout ends up doing. One thing I will say, this art makes me a little scared about it, though. The wartime loadout, you're the one getting the missile and the torpedo. Why is the torpedo chasing the Y-wing in this picture? I don't know.
It's just a homing missile. It's just going to blink off a shield. No big deal.
No, those are the 4 dice. That's the 4 dice right there. That's 4 dice.
I will say this art reminds me of old school Gold Squadron Y-wing. And when I first saw this, I double checked to make sure that the what do I want to say?
The fuel fuselages, yeah.
If you've ever seen the first edition Gold Squadron Y-wing, where it's like, the perspective is just way off on it.
Well, that's been the spoilers for those and our thoughts on it. We're going to be moving on now to the Lone Star Open here. We're not going to break down the whole top 32. We're going to go ahead and just hit the top 8 for today, and just kind of take a look. And one of the things I want to note is, of course, who played, what did they play, but also I want to take a look at what are the words I'm trying to find here? What squads have we seen before? How many of these are familiar? Because this is our first in-person event. How many new things did we see, and how many maybe variations on a theme that we've seen already? Again, this is just another way to kind of look at it and analyze. Let's take a look here. I'm trying to put this in a spot so that everybody can see in the squad here. There we go. That's pretty good. All right. So our winner of the event, a Texas local, if I'm not mistaken, right, Will?
Bafflestate, an Austin native.
Austin native.
Yeah, so Texas local. Yep.
Andrew Bolduc brought Grievous with Treacherous, Impervium Plating, Soulless One. Then had Zam, and we know Zam is good, with Treacherous, Proton Rockets. Will, I'm going to have to ask you about those Proton Rockets in a minute. Count Dooku, Thermal Detonators, False Transponder Codes, and one that goes off the page you guys can't quite see, Hull Upgrade, and then 2 Trade Federation drones. This reminds me a little bit of Team USA Daniel's list, just a bit, with a couple of pieces of hot sauce thrown in for spike damage. What can you tell me about this list, Will, since you got to see it played?
Yeah, we've seen I think we've seen like Zam, Grievous, and like 3 Trade Federation drones before, at least one occurrence of it. But Andrew just drops that 3rd drone, don't care about it, and to just get all of the upgrades he wants on that Zam, including that Proton Rocket. And I will say, I questioned it at first as well. I was like, Proton Rocket Zam went first, 5-0 out of day one. I was very confused, as most people were. But what it does is it allows either late game spike damage when Zam can chase you, or you want to joust? All right, I'll shoot 5 dice at you. I don't care. So I believe Andrew used it in, we had him on stream actually a couple times, and I think he used it almost all but one match. He was able to use that Proton Rocket, and a couple of the ones where he was able to just kind of get like a pseudo joust with the other list. He used it first shot of the game. So it definitely did get used. It was not a throwaway item.
All right.
And then the Trade Federation drones, people questioned it a lot during the weekend, but it's important to have them to trigger Treacherous. If you're out there using them a lot as blockers, Andrew did a lot to either he kind of spread, he never had them together. Never once did I used it, network calculations once. And the rebels that he faced off at one point in time, they just jousted at the top of the screen. So he was using all the tricks in that one. But a lot of the times he was sending off the Trade Federations to either split up the enemy to to draw a little bit of aggro. They're like, well, we'll send one ship off to go fight the Trade Federation drone, which is a win, right? Like if you can pull a ship out from, trading with Zam to go trade with a 20-point ship. But the other thing is that when these Trade Federations do get blocks, and that's really their primary, advantage that they have in this squad, is that it actually sets up Treacherous as well. So Trade Federations can block and then provide some damage reduction for General Grievous and Zam, because they both have Treacherous there. So super unique list in my opinion. Especially with that Proton Rockets and the Treacherous there. And honestly, his Zam flying, obviously good. Made it 10-0. But what
he did all right.
He did all right. But what I think put him over the edge in almost every matchup was his Grievous flying. Grievous was always super impactful, taking shots, and doing a lot of damage. The Trade Federation drones really aren't your damage doers, right? So it needs Grievous out there, double modifying offense, getting behind ships, things like that. So, and yeah, like I said, 10-0. Andrew just had an amazing run all weekend.
Awesome. All right, and then what do we got at second place, Marcel?
I can't pronounce that name. I know Ryan Starsky.
Wow, disrespect. The disrespect.
So we got our very own Ryan Staniszewski, and he was flying the 3. Actually, you were asking about ship list that we've seen or haven't seen. This is a list that we have seen quite often. It's 3 Delta 7 Jedi Knights, and then Shakti with a bit of a nuance to it because it's hyperspace and you don't have the auto blaster. So it's Shakti with Patience and Tractor Beam. I saw Ryan play once. I believe he had him on stream, and he was extremely defensive with Shakti. Shakti was basically always Patience, always. So it was a 100% support ship. But yeah, very. We know Ryan's good. We know Ryan's good. I wonder how much it hurt him to fly Jedi instead of drones. And then ultimately losing to drones.
I know. Oh,
so,
man.
but no, great run.
A quick note about this tournament, by the way, it was a hyperspace event. Just so if you're looking at like, but wait, it was a hyperspace event. Alrighty. Then in the we're gonna reach to the top 4 spot here. We had his name is not actually.
Why is there only 1 4?
Because the other 4.
Yeah, you
did I miss
from
one?
4 to 8. I think you might have.
I may have.
Top 4 and then you skipped to 8.
Well,
it should be Mitch, I believe. Mitch H.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I had him on. Oh, I had him at 8 for some reason. All right, well,
all right. Give the man some credit, Dion.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We'll go ahead and resort. I'm sorry, Mitch. No disrespect. I was doing it fast. All right, here we go.
Let's check the challenge bracket actually before that, because I want to say that this is what we had on stream during the top 4, but let's double check. Challenge.
Wasn't it? I thought it was Josh Holt top 4.
Josh Holt was top 4. Also Steve Holt. Both the Holts were in the top 4. That's a joke because his name on tabletop, whatever, is Steve. D3. I'm pulling it up right now to confirm. No, it was Robbie. Robbie Goldhue was the other top 4.
Robbie,
we had Andrew on 3 different times because of things going on. We did have him for our final top 4 and top 8. So we got to see his whole run through the top squads there.
Where Robbie, disrespect. I didn't even give him a top cut position. I'm so sorry, Robbie. Wow, the disrespect. I'm gonna put a formal apology in. Sorry about that. My bad. I was just, was typing fast and I missed one. All right, so here we go. In the 4th spot, we had Josh Holt flying Zam and Django. Pretty standard builds here. Zam with Treacherous, Dooku, Thermal Detonators, False Transponder, Hull Upgrade. Django with Treacherous, Seasoned Navigator, Thermal Detonators, False Transponder Coats, and Hull Upgrade. Nothing that we haven't seen anymore. Let's keep it rolling. Other top 4. Take it, Will.
All right. This was Robbie Goldhue, and he was flying Scum 4s. Is what the list ends up being here. So that's Bosk with Cutthroat, Zam, Gomet, Greedo, and False Transponder Codes. Pretty standard stuff there. Party bus of keeping locks, or getting locks and bonus attacks, keeping tokens, and getting free crits. All the things Bosk needs. We got Joy Rekoff with Cutthroat and Ion Torpedoes. So you can spend the Ion Torpedoes to reduce the enemy's defense dice by 1. Genesis Red with Cutthroat and Proton Torpedoes. So when Genesis Red locks, you get the focus and evade tokens from the ship that you lock. So super good there, combination with the Proton Torpedoes. And then Lando Calrissian in the Escape Craft, able to primarily used as a coordinate machine. The cheapest I-4 coordinate you can get in, I think, the entire faction. So unfortunately, the list is at 199, so can't quite put Protectorate Gleb on Lando to be able to use his pilot ability to reroll blanks for a stress and coordinate in the same round. But didn't want to give up one of the Cutthroats, which is very powerful in this type of list. Joy and Genesis Red really like those torpedoes, and Boss being able to recover false transponder codes. If you think false transponder codes is cheap at 2 points, let me tell you about getting 2 false transponder codes for 3 points. So super good list there. Got all the way to the top 4, but really what did him in was that the Zam and Grievous list had a bigger bid, which then made it so Genesis Red only could lock droids before they took, or like after they took tokens and Genesis Red can't get the calculate tokens from off the droids. So I think that ultimately is what did him in, because Genesis Red just popped right away.
Yep, there it is. All right, and that's kind of a variation on something we've seen. And now what I've kind of done here, oops, sorry, is I'm making bold everything that I'm seeing that is a variation or exactly of something we've seen. Now this Andrew's list, I know, like, oh, you know, the two Trade Federation drones. This is basically the Zam, Grievous, Brewer, Kret list with, instead of Brewer in there, we got the two drones and the Procket. So that's a variation on a theme. These are like basically almost copy paste of things we've seen before. As we get into not a bad thing, I'm just showing that the meta trend for the in-person is showing some of the same things we were seeing in hyperspace. Mitchell Mitch, is this Hay?
I believe it's Hurst, but
Mitchell Hurst,
can't confirm or deny that.
California Mitch.
I think so, yeah.
Bringing the Rebels, classic Hera, Ahsoka, Wedge, Garvin. This should sound real familiar. It has a lot of these same pieces that you're familiar with. That is A-wing Wedge, by the way. Very similar to something that Team USA's Matt Carey was flying, with the swap being, instead of a Hawk, we got Garvin Dreis out there with the Proton Torpedo. Very interesting squad. You know, you got a lot of flexibility, a lot of movement, and you got that punch with those Proton rockets being able to do some spike damage and get you in the lead. Then we get to Duncan Howard. What did Duncan Howard fly? I forget who's next. Is it you, Marcel?
Yeah. So Duncan was flying another list that we know. Paylob with Gleb and Moldy Crow, Bosk with Cutthroat, Zam, Gamut Key, Greedo, False Transponder Code, so it's your standard Bosk. And then he did go opt for Ultra with Predator and Hull Upgrade versus the some of the other I mean, that's really where it starts veering off. You can go with another I-4, you can go with Fen Rao. But he opted for Ultra Rock, I'm guessing just because mirror matches and trying to strip all the tokens away from the Bosk is where he ended up. So again, it's a variation of lists that we have already seen and that we know that are good.
All right. Then we get Joel Killingsworth here, one of our next top 8 competitors. Take it, Will.
Joel brought Disciplined Barons. That's 2 Tracers and 4 Proton Rockets. Super strong list still. We saw, I believe Joel played day 2, but I believe we saw like 52 or 53 V1s in Heat 1. So they are very popular, and all the naysayers saying was like, oh well, that's a tabletop simulator list only. No one would actually fly 6 V1s. You're wrong. They will find a way.
We've been saying that since the beginning, though. Like I always, whenever I see people say like, people won't buy, however many ships, I go, oh man, you don't know. The lengths that people will go to. Yeah. Anyway, there's Joe Killingsworth bringing another meta known Barons of the Empire. Super good. And then lastly in the top 8, we had Tyler Tippett with a Nash Windrider list. We got 3 Nash Windrider, 3 Black Squadron Scouts with Disciplined, and 2 Barons of the Empire with Discipline. So, Nash Windrider being able to keep things alive. Now, I will say this. Nash Windrider is something that people have been... I haven't seen it perform as well as some of the other hyperspace pieces with Disciplined. Now, seeing Nash Windrider actually do well, I think this is the only kind of new thing. Discipline, not really new, but this variation of Nash and this 5 ships, it looks to me to be the only new thing out of the top 8. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, we've normally seen Nash just like packed in with a bunch of other interceptors or a bunch of other Barons. And I don't think we've seen really that mixed squad. Tyler Tippett has been flying strikers for a long, long time. So not surprised to see him here take advantage of that disciplined Black Squadron Scout. Who knew Black Squadron Scouts would be a meta staple?
That's
Not
right.
me.
The rise and the fall and the rise again. So that is our top 8 of the Lone Star Open. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that breakdown. Now this list of lists that we made, the combined version doesn't exist on List Fortress yet or anything, but we're gonna make this available to everybody. It will be linked in the description down below for both the podcast version and the YouTube version. And for people watching live, I literally will take it, copy, and paste it in the chat for you guys, so you can use it and analyze to your heart's content there. Yeah, so that's the Lone Star Open. Now let's go ahead and take another look at the future. Okay, at the future, we have coming up in a couple weeks the Jeddah Galactic Championship qualifier. Okay, it's happening during the Denver, Colorado time zone in the United States. It is an extended event, and I'm looking forward to seeing what people bring there. You know, the meta has been starting to shift and evolve. I think it's been a combination of people experimenting with new stuff, but there might be a combination of people just being tired of playing the same thing. So, you know, we can wait and see what happens there. Remember, top 32 get an invite to the Galactic Championship, the Battle for Alderaan, which we know guaranteed will have new ships in it, because we know these are coming out in September, and the Battle for Alderaan is happening in November. Hey, maybe we'll even have more ships out. Maybe we'll have a points update by then. Who knows? The sky's the limit. And for those who are wondering, we did have somebody send in an email. I did see it. I'm sorry I haven't responded yet, but somebody asked if the points change on the Friday before, would you allow us to play with new points? And the answer is yes. Why? Because it's fun. That's why.
Well, that puts a lot of pressure on Yasby.
It does. It does.
Our go-to. Our go-to squad builder.
This is true.
But,
I mean, they haven't actually dropped them usually on Friday. They've been dropping on like Tuesday. So we got like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We got a couple of days to make it happen.
I think they figured out that, you know, hey, you know what? Tournaments are normally held on the weekends.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, obviously, I will have to play it by ear, but hopefully we'll actually be able to do it right away, because people like to play with new stuff, new points. Like that is always the most exciting time, when there is many unknowns. All right, and yeah, so that should be a ton of fun. Before we head out today, guys, you guys have, I mean, Will, you spent the weekend in Texas. Anybody you want to shout out? Any like stories you want to bring up? What do you got for me, my man?
I'd already shouted out Tim Hilton and Brent Wong. Super helpful for me all weekend. Shout out to Baffle, who was able to join me for Heat 2. Unfortunately, couldn't make the finals there, but really appreciated him coming in and helping out. I was gonna say when we have them available, but that's just for the YouTube. If you're a subscriber, go check it out now. If you missed it, the video's on demand. But I had Paul Heaver help me out with commentary for the top 4, so shout out to him. And then got Duncan Howard on, who was what do I want to say, very professional. So helping me out on the finals. So shout out to him as well. But thoughts on the event, man? It was just great to see everybody come in and I would say showed the strength of the community aspect of the game. There was everyone was very nice, helpful, and friendly. There was a lot of teasing going around, but it was mostly in jest that, just about like, haha, like just all the things in X-Wing. We never talked about it, by the way. So if you want to do a talk, the white or the elephant in the room, we could talk about it now. But beyond that, the convention had a bunch of other tabletop gamers. Everybody's super nice and helpful. There was a lot of Secret Hitler and these other kind of social games, and so just everyone having a great time. I thought it was a huge success overall, and I've heard Frontline Gaming, the people who put on this convention, are looking to do more live events. So stay tuned, frontlinegaming.org, to see what they got coming up next. It would be awesome to join in with them again. I thought they ran a great event. The mats as well that they were promoting, that they gave away the Prince of by Wade Pichet. Those are extremely popular. So overall, I give it a solid A for an event.
Yeah, and shout out Wade Pichet. He had an opportunity to play test the game that he's designing, Aerodome, and we've already talked to him. And once he's ready to go and put it on a public platform, pretty big, we're gonna help our boy out and play some. I mean, we like games. Let's play some games. So we're gonna check out Aerodome here in the next whenever he's ready for that. It should be fun. Matt going to GSP giveaway soon. Oh, don't tell them the secret, Isofane. Yeah, Isofane sent me. He ordered a map for me to add to the prize vault. When will it come out of the prize vault? I don't know. That's for me to decide. That's the fun. That's one of the many fun things for being Senor GSP. But Marcel, you got anything on your mind you want to bring up before we take? We're gonna do a 5-minute, only 5-minute segment on fortressing, and then we're cutting off the podcast. Okay? Anything before that?
Yeah. Let's see. Just that we're after the show, after we sign off, we're gonna talk real quick. So we'll figure out when we're gonna get Ollie on here to get hot sauce, because I know a lot of people are just waiting to see that happen. He put his backside where his mouth is, and his backside is gonna suffer for it. Usually you put your money where your mouth is, but he didn't. He put his health where his mouth is.
That's a lot better visual, I'll tell you that much.
well, yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, that's great.
Any way you want. He's a flexible guy. But yeah, so we'll talk about. We'll see about getting him in here probably in the next week or two, and what that format will be like, and we'll see his contortionism, if that's the way we go.
Fantastic. Well, let's go ahead. We'll take our 5 minutes to talk about fortressing. Let's talk about what is fortressing, okay? So the game rules say, okay, and actually, you know what? I'm going to bring it up so that we can read it, okay? We ain't even going to play these games. We don't go play these games. All right? Let's not get anything twisted, so that we know exactly the exact wording on it. I believe it is under the tournament regulations, right, guys? Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Let's bring it up here. Tournament resources. Tournament regulations. Okay. Fortressing. All right, here we go. Let's go to the big one. Okay. Fortressing. Okay. So, let's read about fortressing here. Okay. Players are expected to behave in a mature and considerate manner and to play within the rules and not abuse them. This prohibits intentional stalling a game intentionally stalling a game for time, such as slow play or by fortressing, described on page 5. All right, well, let's head down to page 5. What is fortressing? Alrighty. The criteria in the game state for fortressing are as follows. Due to the maneuvers that a player has selected, all, and this is the important word, all of that player's ships have overlapped one another in such a manner that none of them have changed position on the board for 2 or more consecutive turns. And the second bullet point is that player could have selected maneuvers that did not result in the same game state. That second one's important because sometimes if you don't have any options, that might happen. But again, this is all those fortresses that people are talking about can be broken out of. So why did I emphasize those words? Well, we got to understand what is the legal definition of fortressing and what is your emotional, what I'm going to call your emotional definition of fortressing, okay? If a person has one ship in the corner doing hard ones, that is not fortressing if all the ships are moving, okay? Or sorry, if at least one ship is moving. Now, do I think it's a fun way to play? No, not at all. But I think it's important that we have the rules definition on what it is.
Yeah.
And now there's like several paragraphs here talking about like what a marshal can do if you see it. But that's I wanted to hit like what fortressing actually is, and just kind of leave it at that. If you guys want to throw something in there, go for it.
Yeah, the thing that I want to add is that the tournaments document, this document here, allows, you know, in those paragraphs, but also in that initial one that you read, the very first one where it says skip down to paragraph 5 or topic 5, whatever, is that it allows flexibility for marshals and TOs to make subjective decisions and make those declarations for the tournament, because it says when in that initial one, the one that says, you know, see paragraph 5 or see number 5, page 5, whatever, for the definition of fortressing, the sentence that preceded that was, if a player is intentionally stalling or you know, basically doing things that are subjective by nature, which means that the TO and the marshal will have to make a subjective ruling based on, I believe that you are stalling, I believe that you are not trying to engage. So that fortressing was just added as a, for example, fortressing would be one thing. So even if you even if you can't technically call parking yourself in a corner and then doing hard ones in a donut, even if that is not by definition fortressing by the rules as written, this document basically allows for that judge to say, no, you are not allowed to do that because you are purposely stalling and you are not advancing the game state. That paragraph allows it. Again, fortressing is just an example of a way to do that. Another way to do that is taking long on your dials, taking long on your actions, going to the red restroom mid-game. Like, there's a bunch of different ways to, you know, get penalty points and basically get a talking to by the judge. So that's where I felt is, you know, people are stuck on, well, you're technically allowed to do that because it's not fortressing. Well, true, even if it's not fortressing, there are paragraphs in this document that say, well, if it's determined to be a stalling tactic, that is just exactly not as allowed as fortressing.
But what if I put down my dials immediately? I just set, like, I use zero seconds, you know, minuscule seconds of planning phase to do it.
Yeah, but that still doesn't change the fact that you are purposely stalling the game by not moving and not engaging. You're again, that's subjective, and that's why it's put on there. and that's why I have no problem with Brent with his ruling, because I said the way I feel about it is that it is the TO or marshal's discretion of how they interpret that subjective flexibility that the document allows. If the TO says, you know what, we're going to allow it, then allow it. But it's not a blanket statement. If any other judge, whether Filippo or any of the other judges running any of the other events, say, you know what, that's not going to fly in my house. If you're doing that, I'm going to declare that stalling, and I'm either going to penalize you or disqualify you. That is still also okay. And actually, I would prefer that because it's more fun. But it doesn't make one wrong. It doesn't make one right and one wrong. It's just it's flexibility that TOs and marshals are given to go outside of the rules that's written and the definitions, because this document has subjective things that have to be interpreted and applied by a human. It's not It's not black and white. It's not taking action. You know, it's not something like that.
Exactly, and I hope you know I was just poking to further the point there. Now, here is why I think we're having so many people butting heads, is that because it is subjective, and I think what most people want is a black and white answer, and I don't know what that would be, because everybody would give you a different solution for what that would be. But right now, what we have to live with is the fact that it is a subjective call. All right, we know the definition of it, but from what Marcel was saying, it comes down to the TO's discretion, the judge's discretion, the marshal, the person at the top, to determine whether or not it is legal or not. So essentially, if it is a strategy you plan on using, talk to the TO or judge to basically know where's the line, because you're gonna want to know if you're planning on doing it. You need to know where the line is. And I'm not encouraging people to fortress, but I'm telling you to do it within the bounds in which you are given. All right. So that's this debate is an endless circle, because the problem is that it is subjective, and nobody's right until the overlords of the game say, all right, if you do this, the game is over and you lose automatically, right? Like there's consequences like damage, or you start losing ships, or who knows what it would be. Like fixing fortressing is a thread that if you pull it, you could deconstruct the game very quickly. Right? It is because it involves the way maneuvers work and tactical bumps. You got to think about how often you actually, like in the middle of a game, decide to bump a ship on purpose to keep it farther back or something like that. What if you bump on accident, right? Like if you start doing penalties for just bumping, does that affect always, or like it gets a little crazy. So right now, my suggestion is, it's something that we might have to live with. Talk to your TO so that you know how things are going to happen at your house, wherever you're playing. But most importantly, just stay chill. There's more. Let's have fun where we can. All right, go blow up ships. And if fortressing is a problem in your area, we can talk maybe in the next couple of weeks on how to build some bunker busters. All right, and take those fortresses apart. All righty. So, I think, actually, Will, go ahead. This is you.
Okay.
Watermelon. No, I got to throw the touchdown pass to Will.
Okay.
No, go ahead, Marcel.
I just have one question.
Will, I want Will to wrap it up.
Okay. All right.
Oh, you're gonna wrap it up? I just had one question, and this is actually just for hold that pass. I'm gonna sack
passes
you
in the air.
Just for clarity for the people that are participating in any of your events, how is that ruled? Again, if we're saying it's the TO's discretion, how is it ruled?
Well, so it's the marshal's discretion, and I am not the marshal. I am the tournament organizer. In Brent's case, he was the TO and the marshal, which, in my opinion, those two people should never be the same, ever, unless you have to. Okay, and Brent just put it on his shoulders, which is the one of the other issues that's happening in this is people are talking garbage and they don't realize like without him the event doesn't happen. But anywho, that's a D question, not a me question. So I'm gonna defer to D. I get to wash my hands of that because I am the tournament organizer.
I'm sure we will have lengthy discussions with the players in D before every tournament. We always do the player meeting, always take player questions, and I'm sure D will describe it in detail to those players.
All right, here we go. Hi.
All right. All right, so the first thing I'll talk about is what I experienced in the event. And on stream, we did have one player who did I would say, take advantage of the ability to self-block. And I wouldn't say it didn't help him, but it quickly dissolved, if that makes sense. Eventually, he broke it up. He didn't I think, well, let me just move on with my examples first, and I'll go into my thoughts. So we did see it on stream a little bit, so you can catch that. It was like round 2 or 3 of day 2 that we saw it. And like I said, it didn't last very long, maybe 3 or 4 rounds at most. The second thing is that the judges and Brent, the TO, the marshal, excuse me, were very aware of what list could self-bump and cause these kind of fortresses in the beginning of the game, and they were observant of these players, made mental notes as well about what players were pushing that line further and further. I do not believe there was a player penalized for doing it. Maybe a push or a nod from a judge, or maybe a clarification of their legal definition of fortressing to make sure that they are within those legal bounds. But there was no disqualifications or anything that I was aware of. Now, moving on from that, I want to talk about the reason people are fortressing. And I want to describe, to me, there's 2 kinds of fortressing. Marcel touched on this for a bit. But the first kind of fortressing is the self-block in a corner. And the reason it does that is because Boss can't K-turn, and he's got a big ol' arc, right? And he normally only gets 1 good pass before he's got to do some funny maneuvers to get behind ships. So Bosk was the self-bumping fortress problem. There you go. You can see it there. Dion's pulling it up for those viewing at home that he's got ships in a certain way that they allow just 1 ship to move around. So check that out while I'm describing. The reason players are doing this is because of Boss' limited maneuverability to make sure that he gets a good engagement, especially a good first engagement against other lists. Okay. Now, what do I want to talk about? That the reason Bosk has to do this is because in matchups that essentially the opponent won't just come to Bosk. I'm talking about double fire sprays who are fast enough and maneuverable enough to choose their own engagement. Another one is triple Adas who have no reason to go to Bosk, right? They're avoiding him with a literal 10-foot pole. So in those matchups, Bosk has to do whatever he needs to get an engagement that's favorable to him. And unfortunately, in those matchups, the only way to do that is to self-bump. Now, that brings me to, so that's why this even started. But I want to flip it to the other side. And personally, I don't have a problem with that. Like, that's a ship who's got limited maneuverability and is making a tactical choice to not move. Whatever. I think that there is a first problem that the self-blocking fortressing is stemming from, and it's essentially ships who are fast enough and maneuverable enough to choose their own engagement, or essentially not engage, is essentially what I'm talking about. And like I said, the big ones that I can name off are just the Triple Eta and Django, Zam, just because they're easy to pick on, essentially.
Right.
I mean, there's plenty of other lists who could, in theory, do it, but those are the easier ones to pick on, just because their small number count, like their board presence, is so much smaller that it's easier to just avoid any engagement. And those ships actually can fortress by simply not engaging. Oh, you want to come over here? Well, I'm going to 5 forward boost, and I'll be over there. And now you have to go over there, but I'm not going to be there. I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to spin you in circles until you overcommit or make a mistake, and I'll send in whoever I can to engage them. And we see that, I mean, that's standard ace play, right? I mean, I'm not talking anything new and inventive with that. That's pretty standard ace play. But when the player is doing, the player fighting against those fast ships is smart enough to not make bad decisions and force the aces to keep running, then they're essentially stalling the game because they're not engaging. And this fortressing is just the extreme level of regular tactics all of these archetypes already do. Not Adas, but aces already try not to engage and pick their engagements, and they'll run. I mean, we've seen Dugout just not engage with Major Von Reg, right? Just like, just no, nope, I'm not gonna, no way. You got 2 ships, I'm only a single ship, no. But eventually he finds a way to get Kylo to engage, right? Eventually he finds the engagement. And that's, like I said, what people are complaining about is essentially the most extreme accounts of these events occurring. And while they are valid strategies, so I'll finish it up with essentially the boss sitting in a corner. Aaron's like, oh, well, we'll just joust it with a bunch of strikers, so I'll bring proton torpedoes and we'll just roll up in there. They are not jousting in, or they're not sitting in the corner because they're waiting for other jousting squads. They're sitting in the corner waiting for ships who are more maneuverable and can choose the engagement to come to them, is essentially what it comes down to. So I can't fully blame the Bossk sitting ships. I would have to, what do I want to say, put more effort into every list archetype for players to understand that what good and bad engagements are. And the Marcel, what you said was shooting ships and let's roll in some dice is fun. Unfortunately, in X-Wing, sometimes the fun strategy is not the winning strategy.
Awesome. Well, before we head out, I'm gonna give a shout out to my cousin Christian in the chat, who's trying to get me off my game, and I appreciate the attempt, Christian, but I am a professional. All right, I am a professional, and yeah, and if you wanted to marry me, I'm sorry, there is a long line in front of you. All right. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for watching tonight. We will see you on Wednesday. We're going to have a Wednesday night stream. What are we going to do, Dion? I haven't even decided yet, but I want to play some X-Wing. I want to play some X-Wing. I want to play with the boys and see. We'll figure out what exactly we want to do, but we're gonna get some entertaining games. And let's just have a good time, chill. We have upcoming in the next few weeks the culmination of the XTC. We have the Jeddah, the Galactic Championship qualifiers. We got all kinds of stuff. And remember, tomorrow the premiere of Gold Squadron Paint Wars Episode 1. You can go ahead, set your reminder right now. You can go to the page. I put the link in the chat so that you can check it out. If you're subscribed on our YouTube channel, it's super easy to find. Just go over to the channel, hit that button. We'll be live in the chat, and I will tell you, tomorrow's my anniversary, okay? And all I asked for my anniversary was the about 25 minutes to sit there and watch this with you guys. So make sure you guys are in the chat with me. And then after that, I'm going into a movie. So we're going to talk about Paint Wars, and then I'm going to go see a movie with my wife. All right? So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's show, and we will talk to you later. For everybody here at Gold Squadron, be smart, be safe. Gold Squadron out.